What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, J Mill, J Miller, if you like. So let's get into it. So today, the Cowboys play against the Chicago Bears. This is going to be a very interesting game over here in Chicago. Well, first hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, but let's get into it. So Cowboys playing the Bears is going to be a very interesting game here in Chicago. It looks like all the makings of a shootout, at least on paper. Yesterday or the day before, we went over the Cowboys defense versus what the Bears might do on offense, just to kind of see what the Cowboys might be able to do, how they might be able to stop them and what kind of things the Bears are dangerous at that the Cowboys need to look out for. So today we're going to take a look at the Cowboys offense against the Bears defense, as well as get to some picks and predictions. So let's get into it. So one of the first plays I want to take a look at here from the Cowboys offense. So we see the Cowboys are lined up here in shotgun, right? So we got Dak Prescott back here in shotgun. We have 4 wide receivers down, 5 linemen, running back in the backfield. So right now you're looking at just a 4 wide receiver set here. And the Philadelphia Eagles match it with 2 linebackers, slot corner here, a couple other corners there, and 1 deep safety. So let's see how the Cowboys decide to attack it. So nobody's really going in motion just yet. Philadelphia is kind of staying kind of static as well. Cowboys motion Tolbert out at the last minute. So here we see Dak Prescott get to the top of his drop, right? So at the top of his drop, you got 3 wide receivers out en route at the moment, and you got the running back kind of sneaking out of the backfield here. Actually, you got 4 wide receivers out en route. You see CeeDee Lamb gets a free release going up the middle here. So coverage looks pretty good right now, except for the release by CeeDee Lamb. This cornerback's already in a bad situation because he has no idea which way CeeDee Lamb's going to go, right? CeeDee Lamb could break outside, he could break inside, and, this could end up being a big play for the Cowboys. So let's rotate. So CeeDee Lamb here starts to go over the middle. He has plenty of separation. There's the cornerback here is watching underneath, but this cornerback here is playing trail technique, which means ideally the ball would go to about this general area. Since the leverage is already going this way, that guy shouldn't be able to make that play. And as you see, Dak Prescott is already loaded up. He sees it. Protection is good. Got to let the ball go. So CeeDee Lamb comes open. Boom. He catches the ball. Nobody around him. He goes and continues to the open spot, and it's a 33-yard gain for CeeDee Lamb. And luckily, the cornerback tripped him up at the very end. Otherwise, it could have been a much larger gain for CeeDee Lamb on this play. So let's take a look at how the Bears might match up with something like this, right? So the Minnesota Vikings in week 1 did something similar to the Bears, right? They had a little bit different of a formation. So you got a 3-by-2, right? Because they got 5 guys out in the set, nobody in the backfield, they're going empty. But they motion a guy here, across the formation, which essentially puts him into the backfield. The only wide receiver on the top is the tight end, Hawkinson. So you see the Bears match it, trying to put everybody up at the line of scrimmage, get the quarterback confused on what the coverage is going to be, right? So on the snap of the ball, some guys come, that linebacker drops out, but as we see here, boom. Before J.J. McCarthy lets go of the ball, so his protection here is pretty nice. The Bears end up rushing 4. Everybody else kind of drops out in coverage, which is something that the Cowboys like to do sometimes, right? We took a look. Cowboys like to line everybody up on the line of scrimmage and then back out and give you a different look than you saw at the beginning of the play. The difference is Dak Prescott is a veteran quarterback, so he's seen all of these looks. The offensive line should be very good at identifying these protections. Same thing with the Vikings. They identify the protections. J.J. McCarthy's a rookie quarterback, but he sees this very well. He's protected, and Naylor comes open in a very similar area to where CeeDee Lamb became open at. So you see the results of the play is going to be very similar. Completion on the same side of the field, but it ends up being single coverage. Again, just like CeeDee Lamb was caught from behind, Naylor ended up being caught from behind, but lucky he was caught from behind because honestly, the only person left to make that play was the safety. And if Naylor doesn't get caught, that's going to be a gigantic play for the Vikings. And it already was. It was a 28-yard play. Could have been much more. So let's take a look again at a different place that the Cowboys can attack the Bears. So the Bears allow a lot of completions over the middle of the field. That's one of the weakest parts of their defense. I don't know if it's because of the safeties. I don't know if it's because of the lack of coverage from the corners, or maybe just that the linebackers are pretty beat up with injuries as well, even though their star linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds, he's still in there. So that's going to be a guy that Cowboys are going to have to account for and make sure they watch out for because he is still a very good player. But let's take a look at the play here. So this pass is going going to be to Jake Ferguson, right? Before the play even starts, just to let you guys know. This is a similar set to what the Vikings lined up in after their motion, right? But CeeDee Lamb decides to motion to the outside, which is going to give 2 wide receivers on the bottom and tight end close to the line of scrimmage, CeeDee Lamb on the top, running back in the backfield, right? So we're going to roll this play here. Giants just matching in typical nickel, which is exactly what I would expect the Bears to do. So boom, on the snap of the play, which I like here, right? It's very good here, only because I love the way, and this is not something that I see often, but I love the way that the Cowboys pull offensive linemen in pass blocking sets. Normally when an offensive lineman is being pulled, it's in run blocking sets. But the Cowboys have this tendency this year to pull their linemen in pass blocking sets. What that ends up doing is later on in the game, when you want to run off this same action, but you don't want the defense to necessarily know you're running, you can use this same action and pull that guy, but instead hand it off to the running back. You have corners and safeties bailing out and linebackers thinking that it's a pass because the Cowboys have been showing this look all game, and then they can run off that later on. Or they can run off that later on, as we talked about later in the season. This is about building tendencies, but also building tendencies to break those tendencies later on. So if you look here, after CeeDee Lamb motions, right? So we have him going to the top of the screen here. I like seeing that Tyler Smith right there, right? Just watch him on this play. Watching this guy right here, right? So Dak Prescott gets the snap. Tyler Smith pulls and actually basically becomes a tackle on the right side at this point, right? He's protecting the right side of Dak Prescott, right? You have the running back out here. Right now, it looks like everything is covered, except you get Jake Ferguson to release free up the middle. Boom, big play, 19 yards. He's able to attack the middle of the defense there and get the Cowboys a first down, keep the drive going, right? So the Bears tend to give up the middle of the field. Now, this is going to be a little bit different of a pass because this is not going to a tight end. This is going to go to a wide receiver, but it's pretty much the same difference, right? You're just trying to create mismatches in the same places, and that's what I look for the Cowboys to do here. Now, the Lions in this case did it with Khalif Raymond. So they motion their tight end out of the backfield, right? Now you have Khalif Raymond running up the field. Boom, right? He's running up the field. Now right here, it looks like his leverage is not that good, right? Jared Goff is still being protected pretty well, but it looks like this guy has him beat. But if he just waits, quarterback just waits for him to clear that guy, he over pursues, and what do we get? We get a wide open pass over the middle of the field, boom, completion, first down. If that's Jake Ferguson, he might make that guy miss and keep running, or he might run over that dude and keep running. So there's going to be some plays for the Cowboys offense, over the middle of the field, right? So let's take a look at one more here. And of course, it's going to be the run game. So at this particular play, this is the most explosive run play the Cowboys have had this season. And, one of the biggest plays in this particular game, this is week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Cowboys line up, they have their tight end on the left side, 5 down linemen, and they have Miles Sanders lined up in the shotgun. The Eagles match it with a pretty light box because they don't respect the Cowboys run game at this point. So they only have 6 guys in the box. They motion Turpin from left to right just to kind of get a feel for the defense, takes that other linebacker out of the box. Now here we go, right? The great thing about this play is as we pause it, you got a nice block here, right? You got a block here. You got these 2 guys rubbing off here, and this guy can be a nice block here. So you have the crease setting up, boom. Miles Sanders, block. And this guy is, I don't know what he's doing. He looks like he's going down. Terrence still got him. There's a nice crease here. Miles Sanders is gone. Nobody is catching him. Oh, wait, nope, somebody's catching him, right? This is the infamous Zach Bond rundown from the back. But the point is, the Cowboys offensive line provides such a steady presence for your running back that when they get a chance to crease them and hit this play, it works like clockwork, right? So now let's take a look at the Bears defense defending the edge as far as the run is concerned, because that was just a Cowboys run to the edge. Now, this is a completely different beast, right? Jahmyr Gibbs is a different beast because he's a beast. He's a monster. But, the difference with the Cowboys and, the Lions is as the Lions line up in a tight end set with the guy close to the line of scrimmage, single back, you see the Bears match with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the box. And this safety is playing down just a little, right? So they respect the Lions' run game. So it doesn't create a light box. So let's take a look. You had your receiver motion over. All right. Now you have Jahmyr Gibbs getting the ball, and this was made for this guy to look stupid, right? They knew this guy was going to be rushing up the field. They almost just kind of let him go, right? Right at the start of the play, this looks dead to rights. He's going to hand to Gibbs. They just let that guy go block down, but that's because they know their tight end's going to come down this way and get a hand on him. And the Cowboys have been very good on this too. Now, instead of a tight end doing this on the one play that we showed in the pass set, it was your left guard running out left to right and basically becoming a right tackle on the play. On this one, they're relying on their tight end to kind of crash down on that running back and stop this play from developing, or crash down on that tackle and stop this play from developing, which he does. Boom. Now, at this particular situation, you got a good block here sealed. You got this guy going here, and you got this guy running a route. So this is freeing up the rest of the field. Now, this guy over pursues, right? So this is the type of things we're going to be looking for from the Bears defense. When we saw Jamal Williams, or Javonte Williams, sorry, not Jamal. Javonte Williams scored that touchdown last week against the Giants, the 30-yard touchdown. We saw the safety crash down and over pursue. That allowed a lane for Javonte Williams to get through the line of scrimmage, break the tackle, and all of a sudden he's into the open field for 30 yards and a touchdown. Similar thing happening here, right? This guy over pursues, and now it allows Gibbs to get to the edge, sort of like Miles Sanders got to the edge, and boom, he's off to the races. But the only reason Gibbs is tackled on this is because this gentleman took a great angle to make sure that he pushed him out of bounds, but not until he got 42 yards on the play. That other play by Miles Sanders was 49 yards. So the Bears can be creased. The Bears can be gotten in the running game, and honestly, by what we saw here also in the passing game, and it looks like nowhere is off limits. Whether it's the middle, whether it's the right, whether it's the numbers, it should be an explosive day for the Cowboys offense, but hopefully some of the things that we looked at on defense a couple of days ago don't come back to bite the Cowboys in the ass. But so let's get to some predictions here. So I expect this to be a big game for the running backs. It'll be interesting to see the actives and inactives going into the game. I haven't gotten a chance to look at that 100% yet, but we'll see who active and inactive. But I expect it to be very similar to what has been the last few weeks. You'll get Miles Sanders, you get Javonte Williams. So I would expect that there is a chance that Miles Sanders has a couple of big runs in this game on the edges, and I expect Javonte Williams to also have a big day running pretty much wherever he wants to run. But once that gets going, Jake Ferguson's going to eat, Pickens is going to eat, CeeDee Lamb is going to eat. So I expect if you're, doing some fantasy stuff here, I mean, at least by the looks of it, the Cowboys should have a pretty big fantasy day from pretty much anybody you want to pick. Whether you want to pick Pickens, whether you want to have CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, Javonte Williams, or Dak Prescott, I think they're all players you can start. I wouldn't start them all at once. So if you have a lineup out there, unless it's like a showdown captain mode from DraftKings, you don't want to be putting 5 Cowboys in the lineup because there's bound to be somebody who doesn't necessarily perform the standard. But that being said, I expect a lot of points from the Cowboys in this one. I expect a good day from everybody in this one. So if I had to pick a score, I say Cowboys win, of course, and I would give it 33-24. Cowboys win against the Bears. I do expect the Bears to score points. Unfortunately, I think the Cowboys defense will give up the booty as much as possible. So I'd say 33-24. Maybe in the first half, it's pretty close. Maybe we're going into the half, and the score is 20-17 Cowboys. And then, as the later in the game goes on, they start to push it. Maybe it's 33-17 Cowboys in the fourth quarter. Bears score a touchdown a little bit late, make it 33-24. And then, the Cowboys offense kind of runs out the clock, rushing the football and getting first downs and just kind of breaking the back of the Bears. I do think it'll be competitive, though, for at least 2 to 3 quarters, because I do think the Bears, being an 0-2 team, they're going to put up a big fight. They're going to want to try to, not go 0-3, desperate team theory. But in the end, the Cowboys get the win. So Thank you guys for tuning in. That's all I got for you guys. Hit me up on Twitter at jmilleriyl. You can also hit me up at knockersonthebottom@outlook.com. You can hit me up at knockersonthebottom@gmail.com. If you want to leave comments below, any questions you might have, I'll take them here. I'll take them via email. I'll take them via Twitter. Anything specific that you want me to cover. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Until next time, I'm your host, J Mill if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.